Week 11. Zach Wilson needed a couple of those giant mugs of beer after the last time he played the Patriots. Here he is on the emotions he felt after that 3-interception day just a few weeks ago at home against Bill Belichick and company.
Zach, you were pretty emotional when you came off the field against them a couple of weeks ago. How do you keep those emotions out of the way from this game?
I thought they were good emotions. I mean, I was frustrated, and I still believe nobody outside of this building knows what they're talking about. So,
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Why'd you turn down a coaching position?
Who told you that?
That's funny. Look, Zach Wilson, I talked to him after their most recent game, and his attitude about the whole, criticism and everything, he's young. I don't know how he doesn't hear it, but he just ignores it and uses it as motivation, and he understands because he's got the support of his coach and his GM. They get it. It's just a few bad plays. It's not like everything he does is turning to crap. It's just a few bad plays, and that becomes the focal point of all the criticism.
Mike, this is what I thought when I heard that. I said, listen, people outside the building, you don't have to be a football coach. You don't have to be a football expert. You barely have to be a football fan to know that 2 of those 3 interceptions against the Patriots were lazy, dumb throws. They just were. The touchdown pass where he just floats it in the air to Devin McCourty. What in the world are you doing? What are you doing? And so I just thought to myself, when I heard him say that, I said, look, just be careful. Just be careful. And also, learn how to throw the ball into the third row of the bleachers. Can you please do that? This is the interception that really bugs me. He just threw it away instead of throwing it outside. And on that play, Mike, he is outside the tackle box. All he has to do, because he was throwing it away, all he has to do is throw it 5 yards to the right, and it goes out of bounds. And so let's not say that people don't know what they're talking about. We do know what we're talking about. Those were dumb throws, period. And I like Zach Wilson, but come on now, be fair.
But the point is, it was just a couple of plays. Now, they were pretty big plays, but it was just a couple of plays, and he's otherwise doing well. The key is he's got to resist the temptation to try to make something happen once he's put in the effort to get out of the pocket. Once he's run away from trouble, it's still okay to just throw the ball away or run to the sticks and get out of bounds. Bengals taking on the Steelers. They met way back in week 1. The Steelers surprised them in a game the Bengals should have won, had multiple opportunities to win, including all you got to do is kick an extra point at the end of regulation, and you win the game. They're coming in at 5-4, the exact same record they had last year through 9 games. Steelers at 3-6 after picking up a win against the Saints coming out of their bye. How different do you think this Bengals team is from the one that we saw back in week 1 that just seemed to not ultimately be able to get out of its own way?
It's very interesting, Mike, because now when you look at the Bengals, and they're going to be playing without their most valuable receiving weapon against a division rival. They've had some great games against the Steelers. I think the biggest thing that I look at now is that they truly are a team that can beat you in multiple varieties. And by that I mean, you tell me right now, after watching Joe Mixon, and not just last week, but in recent weeks, you tell me that Joe Mixon isn't a gigantic threat, not only running the ball, but in being the receiver that when Jamar Chase was playing, that they didn't really ask him to be as much. And right now, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm thrilled that we have developed this new side, taking advantage, I think, of the ability of Joe Mixon to catch the ball out of the backfield and not just sort of on the wheel routes that all running backs run. I think you're going to see them use Mixon more and more in the passing game, and I think that's a good thing for Cincinnati.
Well, and the key is the offensive line starting to play better. What happens with an offensive line, when it's not playing well, we hear how bad the offensive line is. When it's playing well, we hear how good Joe Mixon is. That's one of the thankless realities of being an offensive lineman in the NFL. You become less noticeable the better you are at your job, because the others are the ones who get the praise and the glory, and they're the ones that people want to talk to after the game. So that's the reality. But the Bengals' offensive line is better. The Steelers are still dangerous, especially at home, and T.J. Watt's back, and Minka Fitzpatrick could be back after having an appendectomy. And who knows? With the Steelers, who knows? They're capable of looking very good. They're capable of looking very bad. They're capable of pulling a rabbit out of the hat. When the stats would suggest they should have lost by 20, they still find a way to win by 1 point, and that's the only stat that ever matters. Raiders at the Broncos. Nathaniel Hackett put it best, although he wasn't trying to be funny this week when he said somebody's got to win this game, which may be the kiss of death for a tie. The Raiders are 2-7. The Broncos are 3-6. And the Raiders just got humiliated at home by the Colts. After all the dysfunction and disruption and distraction that the Colts went through that week, the Colts go in there and beat them. You've got Derek Carr saying, some guys don't care about it the way I do. You've got Devontae Adams saying some guys haven't bought in. You got Josh McDaniels, the first-year head coach, saying everything is fine. This is fine. The little dog in the burning room, this is fine. It seems anything but fine, Peter. Who do you think finds a way to get their focus right and execute right and get this victory?
I keep thinking that one day the Las Vegas Raiders are going to realize that, hey, what's that noise in this room? What is that noise over and over, day after day? And why? Oh, that's the alarm clock. Oh, okay. I really should turn that off. I should answer that alarm. Because to me, the alarm has been going off for too long, and I keep wanting to say this is the week of the Raiders. But, Mike, Derek Carr is on a 6-game streak of not throwing for 300 yards. And I get that they've had injuries, that Hunter Renfrow and, Darren Waller are not whole and have not been whole. And I get that. I understand that. But a quarterback should be able to lift his team, should be able to lift his offense. Only he knows about the full effort or partial effort that he is getting or not getting with his teammates. But I will just say this. It's the wrong week to get right when you're playing the Denver defense. And look, at some point, the dam's going to break. And the Denver defense is going to basically say, we're tired of carrying your sorry rear ends offense, Russell. And someday it's going to break. It might be this week. I doubt it. Mike, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I kind of like Denver, even though I do not trust them to make a single play on offense.
Yeah, they may not have to. You hit the nail on the head. And the Raiders were 1-4 through a very difficult 5-game stretch to start the season. They had a bye week 6, and coming out of it, hey, here's the opportunity to start winning games. And they look good against the Texans, and they get humiliated in New Orleans 24-0. They lose at Jacksonville 27-20, and then they lose to the Colts with a guy who was not in the coaching profession at all 1 week before that game was played. So this one, I think you're right. I think your instincts are accurate. The Broncos have enough, and the Raiders, something's got to give here. And it's clear it's not going to be Josh McDaniels because Mark Davis doesn't want to pay the buyout. I think we may be seeing the last few games Derek Carr plays for the Raiders unless he and Josh McDaniels can get on the same
Hey, Mike,
page.
by the way,
quickly,
can I just give you the most valuable 3 words that I will speak in this 2-hour show? Here they are.
Go.
Take the under.
The over-under is 41.5. I think that's good advice. I can't imagine.
I am taking the under all day, baby.
Yeah. Yes. That seems like a typo. Are we sure it's not 31.5? And even then, it would seem a little bit high. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.